Hello, I am down here in the corner. I figured this would be the easiest way to film this video, but since I'm working on it anyway, I figured I would kind of talk through how I schedule for social media, how I come up with content, the tools that I use, all of that jazz. So it's perfect time because I am working on August 2022. So this is kind of what I came up with when I was coming up with what to do for my social media. And this makes it a lot easier when you are batching your content. I found this helpful info from the Creative Bodega. I highly recommend seeing if you can access any of her resources. Find her at the.creative.bodega on Instagram. I believe she's the Creative Bodega on Facebook as well. And she has a lot of tips and tricks for Canva, which I use all the time. And she has a lot of tips and tricks for scheduling your social media. So I highly recommend checking out her stuff. This is where I got it from. But I kind of made it my own and put my own twist on it. So for my batching method, Monday, I post Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and then sometimes mix in some other things. But I try to post 3 times a week. And I use LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. Not a huge fan of LinkedIn. And one tip that I have is to use whatever social media platform you are going to use the most, because that's when you're going to see the results. If you're using something that you don't really like and you don't really feel passionate about, it's probably not going to work well for you. So I really love using Instagram. So I like making reels and like making, photo posts on there and interacting with people on there. So I really like that. That's my favorite one. So of course, I post on there, post everything on there. So for Monday, I have homeowner tips or helpful info, and that's like my main theme. So then when I am coming up with some other content ideas, I can just like jot some ideas down here. This is pretty old. I kind of make stuff up on the fly now. So these are just when I was starting out. So it's different checklists, buyer seller tips, homeowner hacks, finance, maintenance, decorating, bite-sized tips. And then on Tuesday, we have like more of the industry side of things and what's going on in the market. So I have industry info. There's a lot of like fact versus myth. Like, I don't need to get pre-approved before I start looking for houses. Definitely a myth. There's like some other like really common myths that I chose to kind of debunk and post on to educate the public. And then just like real estate lingo, definition of common terms that you might see that you don't know what they mean, like an escalation clause or an appraisal gap. And then Thursday is my get personal day. So this is where I post usually a quote that I really like and I relate it to my own life and kind of ask people to speak on it as well. Or I post a photo of myself and I kind of reflect on something in life and ask people to interact with me. So that is how I pretty much set everything up. I can't remember where I found this calendar. I was searching on YouTube, but basically, you can just come in here and change this. Oops. You can come in here and change it to like July 2023, and it will autofill all of your dates for you. So it's got my entire calendar right here, and then I have tabs on the bottom, which also say like 2023 and like years that are coming up in the future. Just kind of stole this template. He did offer it in his description if we wanted to download his template. I tried making it on my own. I was actually watching a tutorial and I kind of just had to cut my losses because it was taking way too long. But this is what I prefer using, as you can see from my past ones. So I have like, well, this one was a review, but this one is a homeowner tip for keeping your fan going either clockwise or counterclockwise, depending on the season. We've got kind of another tip. We have a free seller guide, outdoor trends, and then like I have, this is my industry info. So it's like house architecture and like different style types. And then I've got my journal. Well, I guess that's kind of what it is. It's usually a picture of myself reflecting on a question. So it's like, where are you the happiest? And then I ask people to tell me, where are you the happiest? And then I've also been incorporating just like some fun facts about myself, trying to get people to feel like they know me a little bit more. So I've got journal prompts and quotes that I kind of flip flop with every other week. is what I do for Thursday. Obviously, I stick holidays in there. So Mother's Day, Memorial Day, I stick reels in there sometimes. And then obviously, I also have a YouTube account. So I try to plan posts in there, but I'm not as consistent as I would like to be yet. So for August, so far I have a buyer tip idea, taking notes when viewing multiple homes. So I usually just put placeholders in there. So I am going to do just tip. And the other thing that I do is I highlight all of these cells and I go to format, wrapping, and press wrap so that they wrap like this and that they don't, if they don't wrap, then they look like this and it gets really messy. So we always wrap our stuff. We've got buyer tip. This is going to be industry info. I'm just going to carry it all the way down. The other thing I do is I use color coordinating. I love color coordinating. So when it is just this white, that means I have not done anything with it. I have not come up with an idea. I have not written a caption. Also, that's in this Google Doc. I sometimes will put my captions in here. So this is for my craftsman style post that I did, and I just write it beforehand. Sometimes it's easier to make the visual post first in Canva and then like do all those at once. And usually I can listen to some music or a podcast while I'm doing that. And then when I write captions, I need it to be silent. So I could like to do captions all at once if I can. And it's just really nice. It makes things run a lot faster. It's more efficient. So I'm just going to keep filling this out. I also have my closing gift shopping video. I'm doing like a behind the scenes YouTube video for that. And I have a closing. The last one is on the 8th before this video goes up. I didn't want to post the video beforehand because then my sellers know what they're getting for their gift. So I will have it edited by then and hoping it's going to go up on Wednesday. So this, we'll just write personal, or maybe I'll do, let's see what I did. Fun fact. Okay. So I'll do a quote here. Then we'll do journal, fun fact. And then quote, journal, fun fact. I also really want to put some placeholders for reels in there just to make sure that I actually do them. So maybe I will put industry info reel, and I don't want to like overwhelm myself with things. So I'm going to do every other week. And you can see that I need to reformat that because it is kind of wacko. So we're going to go to wrapping, wrap. I already did that one. And then I also am going to put a placeholder for a market update in there. For our location, the market updates usually go, so like for August, it will be July's market recap. So once it gets towards the end of August, they will have July's ready. So I am just going to put this towards the end of August, and it is going to be July's market recap. But then really whenever that comes up in my email that it's ready and that they have the recap, like today it came up and it is the 20th. So it came up for June today. So I just make that right away as soon as possible, just to recap people on the previous month, what all happened, where we're headed. So I actually just scheduled that. This is the other thing that I use is Buffer. So I like to use Buffer for my social media scheduling. It's really awesome. You can, like, if you decide you don't want to post this at 8, you want to post it at 11, you don't need to delete the whole thing. You just drag it into the 11 o'clock spot. It lets you add, this is the free version, so it lets me add my Instagram, my Facebook, and my LinkedIn for free, and then I can do up to 10 posts on each. If you want to do more than that, then you have to have the paid version. I don't think it's that much money. I want to say it's maybe like $10 a month starting, but I am not positive on that. But the free one works just fine for me since I usually schedule about a month at a time. So let's just do Monday, August 1st. So this is also what I use is Canva. I've got a bunch of folders over here. Theme post is usually like things that are going to look generally the same but have different content. These were my old buyer and seller tips. I think this is where I'm looking for these. No. Okay. I know it's in here somewhere. I changed the formatting of my buyer seller tips because I did not like it. So this is my new formatting with just a little picture on the side. I feel like it just looks cleaner, more classy. So this is what I'm going to use for my template. Another thing that the Creative Bodega said in her tips that really I was doing terrible the whole time. So when I would have my Canva, instead of just making another page or making a copy of something, like here's an example, the market updates, you can see them moving through. It goes October, November, January, February, like it all makes sense, you know, it's in chronological order. I used to make a copy of this and call it June, and then I'd make another copy and call it July. And then my Canva was just so full of stuff and I couldn't find stuff anywhere. That was what I posted for my cat's birthday, so just ignore that. So we have a buyer tip. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to duplicate the page. You can add the page, but I want the formatting to stay the same. So I'm going to keep it like this, and then this is where we're going to type our info because it's still going to be buyer tip. So we're going to say, when viewing multiple homes, consider bringing a notebook to take notes on each home. You can also write notes on your spec sheet. This will help you identify major good and bad points. I don't know, it's hard when I'm under pressure now. Anyways, when viewing multiple homes, consider bringing a notebook to take notes on each home. You can also write notes on your spec sheet or in your phone. This will help you identify each home and remember them at the end of the showings. The only thing is I think I'm going to move this up a little bit because it looks a little funky. And then I'm going to change the picture so it looks different. So you can go into photos, and I do have the pro version, which I highly recommend because even like this picture is pro, this picture is pro. You have a lot of features with free, but I just think that the paid version like pays for itself. Like it's just so efficient, and you can use anything and everything, all of the templates, all of the pictures. So I highly recommend. I try not to pick like outsides of houses that look like this because that's not really what my area looks like. I try to pick cute little interiors. So like this picture is nice. Let's see if I like that. I kind of do. Kind of want it like maybe half in, or do I want the whole thing in? Let's see. Definitely not that. Yeah, I like the half. Okay. Okay then, so this is done. Then I can go ahead and make sure you don't download all of the pages because you don't need all of those. So you're just going to click that. My face is in the way of this. And then I'm going to click download. So it's going to save in my recent downloads. And then I'm going to go over to buffer. I usually have to go back and check, okay, which date am I posting this on? So this is August 1st. And then we're going to go into buffer. I like to start at the top so that I can make my way down and remember what I've done so far. So then I'm going to scroll all the way to August 1st. And I usually try not to post anything super early in the morning. Usually it's around lunchtime or afternoon when people have their lunch break or they're getting off of work, and then they can see the post right away. So I'm going to post this at 4. Then I'm going to click right in here. And then I'm just going to write an extra little blurb. So I'm not going to repeat anything that I said already in the picture post because it's just like, let's not be repetitive. So I'm probably going to get a little more personal. Like when I am just posting this picture, it's very like cut and dry, like bring a notebook with you each time. So then I'm going to kind of add my personality in. So when you are viewing multiple homes in one day, it can be very easy to forget certain aspects and identify the homes that you liked and did not like. I recommend taking notes so when you're viewing multiple homes in one day, it can be very easy to forget certain aspects and identify the homes that you liked and did not like. I recommend taking notes to help you remember. Identify. I'm going to say write down certain points that will make you remember the home. I don't want to say points, but it's like when you know this home had a shed in the back and it was the only one that had a shed, or it had something memorable. Okay, so I'm going to say write down memorable points that will make you remember which home you're reviewing. If you know you're going to remember the white cabinets and of a home, make a note. If you know you're going to remember that it was on a busy street, make sure to write that as well. I don't know if this is too lengthy. So, like I said, usually I will either write it right away in buffer, otherwise, I will go and write my captions all at once, which this way is probably the most efficient way, but I am just trying to show all of the tools and everything that I typically use. So, let's see. When you're reviewing multiple homes in one day, it can be very easy to forget certain aspects and identify the homes that you liked and did not like. Exclamation point. This down here. I recommend taking notes to help you remember. Write down memorable points that will make you remember which home you're reviewing. If you know you're going to remember the white cabinets in a home, make a note. If you know you're going to remember that it was on a busy street, make sure to write that as well. I think that's good. So I'm going to select all. So I do on my Windows laptop, it's Control A and then Control C to copy. And I'm going to schedule the post. This is so I do not have to rewrite the caption a million times, because that would be terrible. And so it shows up right here. Then I'm going to click into Facebook. I used to make different sizes for Facebook and Instagram. I would just do the square for Instagram, and then I would make the typical Facebook size. But I just found that to be way too time consuming for the same content. And so I just use the square size for pretty much everything. So we just Control V, paste our caption in there, and then we find our photo again from our downloads, and then it's in there right away. So let me just post this one, and then I'll show you what I use for color coding. So that was at 4. I don't write down which platforms I'm posting on and which times I did everything, because I just feel like that's unnecessary and a little bit of a time waster. I used to write that on, I have a similar spreadsheet for the company's social media. I help manage Think Hallmark social media. So I used to put which platforms I was scheduling them on, but it just didn't really do anything. I was the only one looking at it. So, I didn't want to waste any time. So once this is scheduled, I gray it out. So I do fill color and then I just put a light gray so I can still see it. Then if usually I don't do it on here, but on Think Hallmarks I do because we are sometimes coordinating with businesses or other agents to get things done. So in that case, I do like a light red color, and this means that I need to do something. I need to schedule an appointment. I'm waiting on something from someone, so I am not able to get this done at this point in time. Then if I have a caption written, sometimes I think if I have a caption written, I will go with purple. That's, I believe, what I used to do. And then if I have everything done, the caption, the post, everything is done, except for I don't have any room and buffer. That sometimes happens because, as you can see, I have the 10 post limit. So let's say I only get 6 more. So if I schedule the 6 more today, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or really 6 because this is a YouTube video. So all the rest of this cannot be scheduled yet. But if I have time to do it, I can make the captions, make the posts. In that case, I do a light green, signifying that everything is done except for I have not scheduled it yet. So this is the caption. This is everything is done, has not been scheduled. This is I need something from someone. I need to schedule an appointment. Maybe I need to set up an appointment to film a video with another business. So that's what I do for that. So it's typically going to be the gray, but gray and green, I would say that I use the most. Obviously, you can use whatever colors you want, but that really helps me to stay organized. And I really like that I can gray out everything to let myself know that, yes, this has been done. See, these ones I was slacking, I didn't do them. I still could do this one, but this day has passed. So I'm trying to figure out if I can move it somewhere else or if I just need to delete it. So if there's nothing in these squares, usually I haven't posted anything. So that is pretty much everything, I think. I don't think I'm forgetting anything. Like I said, yeah, I recommend. So major tools that I use are Google Sheets. I don't like to use like Microsoft because it's just easier to use Google. Like you can access it anywhere. It's never failed me. So and it auto saves, which is nice. So I have Google Sheets for my scheduling calendar. There are other platforms, obviously, that you can use for calendars, but I love this for a calendar. I use Google Docs to make my captions and write some notes about um, my content ideas. I also sometimes use Trello for ideas, but mostly this content document. And then Canva for creating the graphics and everything. They also have video editing. And then I use the free version of Buffer for this. So, really, the only paid thing that I use is Canva. And like I said, it is well worth it. Trello is also free, but I do have the paid version of that because it's just amazing. So, those are the ones that I highly recommend, and that is how I schedule my content.